change doors front to solid wood. I'm going to show you how we can just change the front part of the door without even having to remove the door all the way. It's very simple. I'm going to show you how right now. Look on the inside, you have 2 screws, the handle screws, and 2 more screws at the end. And there are staples around the outside edge. The first thing you want to do is remove the 4 outer screws. Give yourself a little bit of room. Loosen up. Don't take them off, but just loosen. So now take your knife, your putty knife, go to the edge, and stick it in, then take a hammer. And go around. And all you're doing is knocking the staples. Make sure you get the sides. Now with that done, I didn't do the bottom part yet because you might be able to get it off without having to take the bottom out. Take the 2 screws out anyway, but sometimes. Then I put the screws back in the handle and lay it in the drawer. Now with everything out, and I've gone around, I'm going to see how it feels to take off. And I should be able to pull back and take this right on off. And there it is. So basically what I did was use a chisel to break the staple sticking out into it. Now with that done, you can tap these through. Then you go on the inside and pull them out. That's taking the drawer front off without the drawer. Okay, with the drawer front out, you want to take off the bracket. Keep this because you'll be putting this back onto the new door front if you're reusing the latch. Now I'm going to show you how to make the door front. Now, what you can do is you can either get your tape measure out and measure everything, make your line, or you can line it up with the board, butt to butt, and trace it. And come down here, finish off that one edge. Now, with that traced, you can take your skill saw and cut it by hand if you're pretty good, or jigsaw, whatever you want. Try to do your best you can. In my case, I have the Craig jig. This has already been set up for it. You set it up for your style, and I can measure to where I want it by moving it over. I know that is 6 inches even that I'm cutting right now. Inches, 6 inches. Now all you have to do is cut the length down. I take the old one and the new one together to make sure everything's the same size. Decide which side do I want to use. So I'm going to take the old board and lay it on top of the outside part of the board and make sure the outside of the old board is facing out also, so I can drill the holes. So now I line them up, and I'm going to clamp them together while they're lined up. clamp them. But now with them lined up and clamped together, I can use this as the guide to drill the holes for the handle. With that lined up, take a 3/16 drill bit and use it as the guide. Now you have your holes for your handle. Now you want to mark the location of where the latch mechanism went. If you're reusing the old one, you can take measurements, measure, and mark them. I found it's easier just to take the drill, since I'm not going to use this drawer anymore, and go straight down through it. Now take the board and put it on the back side of the board you just cut. I use a drill bit and make sure the holes for the handle line up and everything's squared. Then clamp it. Now with both sides clamped, I take the drill bit out so I can put it on the drill and make a little divot. Now I know I'm hitting the inside wood. Just a couple little turns, not much. Go to the other side. And that's it. Unclamp it. And now I have my indentation where I know the latch will mount. Cut the rest of them and do the same. Then you want to give it a good sanding all the way around. And you want to sand the front real smooth. The back, you just give it a little sanding. But give the front and the corners a real good smooth. If you want, you can do a router decorative edge around it, if you know how, or have somebody do it. And stain and finish. I'm going to go put this on now. Just let's pretend it's already been ready and stained and finished. So let's pretend everything's already been finished and it's ready to be put on. Now I'm going to mount the latch part on the bottom of the door, but I'm going to leave it loose so you can adjust putting the door front on and tighten it up later. What you want to do is open the door a little bit. Even though all the holes are lined up perfectly with the drawer, it's still nothing will ever go together the way you plan. So what I'd like to do is take like a 1/4 inch and upgrade up these holes a little bit to give me some adjustment. I do loosen up the bottom latch so it can move around, so I have adjustments there too. Everything else, I'm going to have to vacuum in this anyway. Put it through. Put it through. So now I'm going to take the handle, tighten it up, but not too tight. I still want this to be able to move. But I want it to be able to move, but also hold wherever it moves to. So if it moves down, it will hold. Move sideways, it will hold. And now I'm going to set this in by slowly pushing it in and see if it lines up with the latch. And it doesn't. The door won't close. Let's find out why. All right, you're underneath where the latch is, and as you can see, I have this latch backwards. That's how it happens. I got to make sure I put the latch on the proper way. So let me reverse this latch real fast. Bottom latch put on the proper direction. Push it and see if it goes in. It does snap. So it's good. Now I'm going to level out the drawer for the gaps to match. Right there. With that, I'm going to pull straight out. Then I'm going to tighten up the handles so the door doesn't move anymore. Give it another try. Perfectly lined up. Now with the handle tightened up, I'm going to take the 4 screws that I took out earlier and put them in, and they will hold it in position. Put them in the same spot they came out of. Now what I like to do, since I'm not going to be putting staples back in it to replace it, I'll put 4 more screws. Screws I'm using are the 1-inch square head zinc coated from the project kit. They're perfect, and this is what they look like, and it is using the square head. This is what it looks like with the drawer all the way in. Now, of course, I'm going to be taking this back off to finish it and do the rest of the drawers. These are completed. I'll be showing how to install the travel latches and magnetic catches in the next video.